Welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. Today I'm going to explore the journey of the svelte, seductive Venus through the intense and passionate Scorpio. This journey begins on the 23rd of September and goes on through to October the 17th. That's 26 days. Now, Venus in Scorpio is technically debilitated, but Venus is actually going to forge some really delightful connections through its transit, which I'll share with you. But also on screen, I'll share the event chart for when this process begins, because that snapshot gives us a backdrop of what will pan out over those 26 days. And one of the interesting things is that Venus is in a tussle with Pluto, the higher octave modern ruler of the sign of Scorpio. So we have some mutual receptivity, but not necessarily the best kind. Venus square Pluto can be quite heavy going. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. Once I go through this, I'm going to share with you each of the 12 signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you a flavour of what you can expect in terms of your ascendant, sun or your moon for this period of time. If you've yet to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast based on your unique data, you can order that now and get the rest of year 24 free. And also my special package of 30% off, get your life roadmap report. All this information will give you searing insights to guide your moves. Please see the link below for more. So let's just think about the archetypes of Venus. It rules the sign of Taurus, where it's very much to do with money, self-worth, values, anything that's more sensual and sensuous, our appreciation of good food and wine. Venus and Taurus are the rulers of agriculture, and that part of our situations has been rather turbulent due to the occupation of Uranus since 2019, since the March of that year full time. But Venus also, of course, rules the sign of Libra, and Libra is where Venus is very much about equilibrium, presentation, grace, charm, harmony, and of course relationships. So why is Venus detrimented in Scorpio? Well, it's because Scorpio faces up to the sign of Taurus, so that opposition. And also Venus in Scorpio is said to be, or have the potential to be, very possessive, controlling, very intense, and although it can have a very magnetic quality for sure, subjects can draw a lot of attention to them. When it comes to their relationships, it tends to be all in or all out. But also they can be people who can feel quite strongly issues to do with control, possessiveness and jealousy. But it's also important to understand that even if you do have your personal Venus in Scorpio, it's the house that it's in that's incredibly important, but also the other relationships it forges. So your Venus could be splendidly aspected if it is in Scorpio. But in terms of this event and how it unfolds, on the screen now I'm showing the event chart, and we can see that the ascendant, based on universal time and Greenwich, because of the prime meridian, the ascendant is at 25 degrees. But that pictures Venus into house 3, which is quite chatty, quite sociable. But you can see that Pluto, that it squares with, is in house 6. So that particular 6-3 square can create quite a lot of extra energy, and having Venus in the 3rd house can obviously see us more chatty, but it also could see us wanting or desiring, because the sign of Scorpio can be about sensuality and intimacy, could see us wanting to chat in order to connect. And it may be with Pluto in the 6th house that we find an attraction to someone through our work, an everyday situation, somewhere very practical. Another big takeout of this event is Venus, of course, rules Libra, and the Sun through the autumnal equinox has just returned to that sign. And that's a really lovely position for the Sun to be in. It's ushering in cardinal quadrant 3, because the Western tropical zodiac is divided into 4 units of 13 weeks. And therefore we're being all encouraged to find greater equilibrium in our relationships over that period of time. But the other takeout from the event chart natal is that Saturn, the planet of restriction, potentially, is in the 7th house, which Venus influences. So the big shakeout from all of this is that we are entering a period where relationships for us all, with ourselves, with our friends, our neighbours, the people we connect to every day, not just in a romantic dimension, are going to come very much into focus, particularly when Mercury, the planet of communication, moves into Libra on the coming Thursday. But because Venus is conflicted by Pluto, as this event occurs, we just need to be conscious that any politics around finances or relationships could be an issue that we do need to work on. So, for example, if you feel that someone's leveraging their affection towards you, or leveraging the offer that they're providing you for a job, and it all seems very charming, they're absolutely ladling it on, that's where you need to be particularly cautious. But in a way, Saturn being in the 7th house can be a protective thing. It can make us all a little bit more cautious. But certainly Venus in the sign of Scorpio can be a part of its journey where we are more conscious of our shared finances and resources, because that is what the sign of Scorpio can be about. And of course Venus is the money planet, so we can't just dismiss Venus based on its detriment in Scorpio. It definitely can have its benefits, and it's also important to challenge the essential dignities too. I'm going to share on the screen now the event chart from a solar perspective. Here you can see that Venus is in house 8, as we'd expect, and Pluto's up there just on the anaretic degree, just on that last degree in Capricorn. So we could imagine this event in some ways as Venus in 8 and Pluto in 11. So if there are friendships, for example, that seem a little bit heavy going, someone wants to know what we're up to, can be a bit possessive about our time and our movements, that could be something that we may need to push back against. But the Sun, having just moved into Libra, does give us a wonderful opportunity to try to achieve greater equilibrium, that's for sure. But if you do meet someone over the next 26 days, and it just seems in some ways that you're being drawn or compelled to connect, there could be a fated dimension to this, and that's because of that square to Pluto. But if you are getting to know someone and they are a little bit secretive and not really very open about their situation, do proceed with a degree of care. But in the first week of October, Venus does forge a very stable link with Saturn, and that peaks on the 4th. So if you're fortunate enough to be in a relationship which is going well, that could cement it in even more. Venus also forges a sparkling trine to Mars from the 4th to the 13th, which is exact on the 8th. Here, the two planets of romance are collaborating, but there is a mutual receptivity because, of course, Mars rules the sign of Scorpio. It's the traditional ruler. Now, Mars itself in Cancer is in its full, but here I feel that this influence is very much about if you're lucky enough to be relating to someone where the emotional content is very good, and that is helping to open up the intimacy. It could be a relationship that's really worth going for. Now, if you are in a stale tie of any kind that does need to be reignited in some ways, your opportunity to do so is from the 12th to the 17th of October, and exact on the 14th as Venus goes face to face with the potentially disruptive energies of Uranus. But equally, if a relationship is bumping along the bottom and it feels that someone is being rather oppressive, wanting to know all your movements, doesn't like it if you're going out with your friends, then I feel that Venus's Uranus the Venus-Uranus opposition could see you wanting to break out and create some more space. But as Venus's journey through the sign of Scorpio comes to a close, ironically, Venus forges a beautiful link to Pluto, and that's from the 15th to the 17th and finalising on the 17th, just as Venus makes its way into the sign of Sagittarius. So there's real opportunities to relate well with this particular event, but also to work at the parts of the relationship where you feel that there is a commitment, there's an emotional authenticity with that Venus-Mars link, or there is a tie that's really dedicated with Venus and Saturn. But if you have got some issues, or things are a little dull, or you want some kind of fleeting fling, that Venus-Uranus opposition at the heart of October will certainly bring some excitement, if also some disruption. Please stay with me as I go through each of the 12 signs to give you a flavour of what you can expect over this next 3 or more weeks. So Aries, if you have been getting to know someone recently and you're really feeling it strongly that it's going well, Venus moving into the 8th house can be a time when you can invest more, because the 8th house can be about devotion and Venus clearly can be about affection. But of course, the converse can be true. So if, for example, you have been getting to know someone and so far so good, the pleasantries have all been lovely, but then there's some resistance, either deep within you, the 8th house is very deep, or your senses somehow are just alerting you to be a little more cautious, or there is a relationship that just you feel has really reached that part of its journey where you're really not sure, then it is possible that you could bring something to a close, particularly in the middle of October as Venus goes opposite Uranus. But for you, the 8th house, of course, can be about shared resources, investments, and business. If you are a very entrepreneurial person and you want to grow your enterprise, it's possible that you could look for some additional investment. Now, that could come from your bank, it could come from an investor. It depends on the scale of your enterprise. But Venus moving into the 8th house in an existing relationship, which is going well, could actually help to draw you and your partner closer together, particularly with the Sun having moved into the part of your situation which is very much about equilibrium. And the more you both work on your listening skills, particularly with the help of the solar eclipse across the 2nd and the 3rd of October, that's going to help to clarify and help to ease the communications between you in a more harmonious way. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Taurus, for you, it's quite exciting, Venus going into Scorpio, because it's your opposite sign, it's your 7th house. Therefore, it's on your Sun descendant. The descendant is where we connect. Now, of course, we have the descendant of our ascendant. If your ascendant is in the sign of Taurus, this is even more meaningful, particularly when Venus will make that transition exactly across your 7th house. If you're someone whose preference is for equal house astrology, you may start to feel the magic of Venus in the 7th house straight away. But if you are footloose and fancy free, the fact that the Sun has just moved into the sector of relating, but in your 6th house, don't underestimate where you can meet someone. As I mentioned on my autumnal equinox video, it could be the most ordinary locations that some kind of connection can start to develop. It could be through work, it could be standing at a train station and just get chatting to someone, and those little unexpected sparks can be very positive for you. But Venus in the 7th house is also an opportunity for you over the next 26 days to not sweat the details. If there are any kind of relationship in your world where maybe it's not quite perfect, but there's lots of things that are good within the alliance, as I mentioned, if any relationship at all, then Venus can help you to see the upside of what you have. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Gemini, for you, the Sun through the autumnal equinox has just moved into a sector of marriage, the 5th house, but also the part of our collective experience, which is very much to do with fun, socializing, mixing and mingling. But Venus has moved into your 6th house, which is much more practical. Can you bind these two areas together? Well, one of the things that Venus is actually legendary for is anything to do with the arts and creativity and crafts. So if you are a maker, you can combine the flair of the Sun with also the eye for detail and the aesthetics that Venus in Scorpio will give you to produce some great stuff over the next few weeks. But in a purely romantic context, a great thing to do with Venus in the 6th house is those small but sometimes very important gestures, an odd text message, a thoughtful gift, or just a thank you to someone who's helped us out can just engender a greater sense of goodwill. But if you are in a live-in relationship, the 6th house is to do with the domestic sphere, essentially. Venus likes things to be, pretty ordered, but also perhaps sharing that domestic load a bit more could be a very good thing. Now, if you're the main person who does most of the hard work, a good time to gently and perhaps humorously, with the Sun in your 5th house, ask for what you need, which is a little bit more consideration and support. But if you are someone who tends to work very, very hard and come in and your partner tends to do more, then even a small piece of assistance can actually probably mean the world to that other person. Now, of course, relationships are never just about the romantic ones, and because Venus has moved into your sector of work, it may be an alliance with someone can be very constructive for you. But equally, if there are people you need to work with who don't tend to be so easy to get along with, I feel right at the heart of October there could be a little bit of tension. Also, you may encounter someone who seems to be very, on the face of it, very pleasant, but there could be a kind of sense of tension that's not quite coming out, and that could be that opposition between Venus and Uranus. And to be honest, if a romantic relationship has been bumping along the bottom a little bit, right at the heart of October could be when either of you could actually open up and express some frustrations in a more obvious way. But in some ways that could also give you the chance to clear the air. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Cancer, for you, Venus has moved into a glorious location. The 5th house can be very glamorous. It's a great opportunity to demonstrate our affection in a more open way, but you need to make Venus work for you concurrently to the Sun having moved into your 4th house, which is quite a protective area. So the influence of them merged together over the next couple of weeks suggests that if someone is lovely to be with and very attentive, but also just has a real gift of understanding your inner world, then that's going to be the type of person you're going to be most comfortable with, friend or in a more romantic dimension. But at the heart of October, that very electric opposition between Venus and Uranus could see something develop very, very rapidly. And even if you're someone who likes to go pretty slowly and steadily and be very cautious in your approach to romance, I do believe, particularly with Pluto now back in your 7th house, then you have a window of opportunity through to the 19th of November. And if there is someone that you feel you like, that particular aspect could give you an encouragement to take a little bit of a walk on the wild side. But as this aspect, or as this ingress occurs, Venus does square up with Pluto in your opposite sign. And if there is a relationship that you're already in, which does seem to be very heavy weather, then this could be a seminal moment, this particular transit, and really push you to think very carefully about whether the balance of power between you will ever be redressed if it doesn't feel in sync in the way you really would prefer. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Leo, for you, Venus has moved into your 4th house. Venus in the 4th house is pretty mindful of the house, the abode where we live. And Venus can be very much to do with aesthetics and style. And if you're in the mood and mode to have a change, then this is a great opportunity to get some paint charts, do a little bit of experimentation, or perhaps go full into some redecoration. For some Leos, there may even be the desire to get some new furnishings or some new pieces to put around your home that just give it that little edge of extra class. But of course, the Sun has just moved into your 3rd house, and therefore the autumnal equinox is going to encourage you to interact more. Now that could be with people immediately around you, neighbours, siblings and so forth. But if you do invite people around to your home over the next 26 days, the chances are you're going to want to be a very magnanimous host and make sure that everyone's needs are really thought through and met in a lovely way. So Venus in the 4th house does give you an appreciation of your inner aesthetic world, but also it can bring some softness and gentleness and perhaps even some healing to some relationships that may have been a bit jagged. If a relationship for you is more important from an emotional dimension, Venus being in the deep Scorpio can actually be lovely. But with Mars linking with Venus through the next 3 weeks, it's possible that there could be a reconnection with someone from your past, and it may actually be really a lovely one. Could be old colleagues, old school or college friends. It could even be someone that you were once involved with. But the key is that emotionally it feels right. And of course, the water sign of Scorpio is a very deeply feeling sign. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. Virgo, for you, Venus has moved into the third house, which can be quite chatty. Venus can be very gracious and stylistic. So in terms of your words or mode of expression, those could be gifted an extra layer of charm over the next 26 days. If you are really keen on someone, particularly with the sun having moved into the sensual second house, you may want to meet up and do something really pleasant and charming. So if it is something a little artistic, like going to the theatre or going to watch a band or an art gallery, that would be the perfect way to use that Venus energy. But in a more playful way, if you do enjoy karaoke or singing in the bath, Venus moving into your third house will certainly give you a lot of passion to express yourself, but with a great deal of panache. And when it comes to the romantic sphere, the power of your words can really be amped up. So don't underestimate just how much someone can be really impressed by the tonal way that you express yourself, because you may have noticed that Taurus people particularly have quite a way of expressing words from the throat, which is very sensuous, and that's a very Venus influence. So that is going to be available to you through the chatty third house. And if you do have ideas that you want to express, you can do so with aplomb. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Libra, for you, this event can possess some special magic. I did share when I was talking in a weekly forecast about Venus moving into Scorpio can be good for you financially, and someone said, but hold on Patrick, Venus is detrimented in Scorpio, but Venus for you in the second house, solar, represents much more the energy of Taurus, but also because the sun's just moved into your sign and you are a sign ruled by a Venus, that natural way of expressing yourself in a quite classy way, classy manner, is going to be amped up. But Venus moving into your second house can see you appreciate the good things in life in quite a big way over the next 26 days. Could see you want to spend some money, perhaps enjoying some creature comforts, maybe being quite generous. You may be a little bit spontaneous about that expenditure in the middle of the month when Venus goes opposite Uranus. If you are in a relationship and that's not a pre-agreed budget, that could cause some tension. But equally, the second house is where we want to enjoy those sensuous things. So if you're in the space to have a nice healing massage, that's very much to do with touch. Lovely for that first house energy the sun brings to you, but that second house energy means you could get a lot from it. But if you are someone who's been trying to stick to a pretty abstemious diet, you're going to find that Venus being in your second house could be a little bit of a challenge. What about romantically? Well, clearly if there are disagreements over the amount of closeness that you have, so maybe there's someone you really like but there's not really that spark, that could be something that plays on your mind. But equally, if you're in a relationship where it's a bit unpredictable and you would prefer it to have a firmer foundation, that's what Venus can call out to you, because in the second house, yeah, that security and knowing where you stand may be something you really crave. but you may find at the heart of October that the other person, if it is a little bit of a loose arrangement, may be somewhat unavailable, or conversely, be wanting to have a moment with you much more of the time. So as ever with astrology, there's always polar ends to the influences, but I don't think it's right that Venus being in Scorpio is bad news for you, and I feel it could see an increase in your financial circumstances pretty soon indeed. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Scorpio, interesting for you because Venus moving into your own sign is going to bestow upon you even more charisma over the next 26 days. And that's really going to be heightened quite considerably from the 4th to the 13th of October, reaching a peak on the 8th, when Venus arcs into a beautiful trine with your traditional ruler Mars. But as this journey begins, of course, Venus is clashing with your modern ruler. Now, Mars for you in the 9th house can be about freedom. So if there is a relationship which isn't working or hasn't been working very well, and you've been going through some very deep reflection upon, the Sun's arrival in your 12th house can prime within you the need to withdraw. But Venus moving into your sign, conversely, can see you want to move into your own power. But if you have been really mulling over what to do, I feel that clash with Pluto could push you to be quite decisive. Now, of course, everyone's relationships go through different phases. You may be in a very long-term relationship and it may meet a lot of your needs. But one of the things that Venus perhaps doesn't get enough recognition for is the creativity it can bestow upon us. So if you are someone who has flair and artistry that have lain a little dormant, the fact the Sun has moved into your 12th house, which could give you a bit of a desire to have some more personal space, why not get out an easel and start doing some painting, or playing some music, or just really thinking very deeply about the healing dimension in your life. But if you are someone who's wanting to be more interactive with others, that opposition with Uranus and that link with Mars certainly creates a lot of excitement over this next few weeks, particularly as Venus then culminates in its journey through your sign in a fantastic link with Pluto. So you may get the outcome, and so I feel the next few weeks are going to be very interesting for you. And if you are free to connect with someone new, there could be a connection that's coming that could be surprisingly interesting, even if the person I sense could be a little shy, and you may need to look out for someone's body language because they may find it a bit inhibiting to express themselves to begin with, at least. Of course, you may meet someone who's totally upfront, but if you do encounter someone who you just realise is just tuning into you a little bit in a sort of energetic way, then do sort of open your body language up to that, because there could be more than one admirer beating a path to your door over this next few weeks. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. Hi there, Sagittarius. So the Sun and the autumnal equinox is priming up your friendships and social situation. Then Venus goes plop into a very private sector. How do we reconcile that? Well, I think it's simple. What you're wanting over this next 26 days is some sincerity. We all want sincerity, but we all know that when we meet someone for the first time and the relationship is finding its way, it can be a little bit unpredictable, and it can be a bit uncertain because we don't quite know where that other person is really coming from, and the same for them. So it's all a bit edgy. So there could be a little bit of that for you if there is someone that does really start to grab your attention. But equally, and maybe it is around a friendship or any kind of connection, if you feel someone hasn't really been invested enough in you, you may decide as this transition goes on, and particularly towards the end of October when Venus moves into your sign and clashes with Saturn, you may want to get out. So just be aware that Venus moving into your 12th house can make you very thoughtful, think deeply about relationships, crave sincerity, but that needs to coexist with a very playful set of energies which is just starting to come through. But then equally, Venus in the 12th house can point towards a secret or at least private fascination. Is there someone in your friendship circle that you're going to start to bond with that you may want to keep very much to yourself to begin with? It is entirely possible. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Capricorn, with the Sun having moved into the most dominant part of your situation, the next 3 months is a great chance for you to raise your profile. But wait, what about your social situation where Venus has just moved and Venus is clashing with Pluto in your sign? What do we make of that? Well, I feel that in a professional situation, if someone just seems to be too good to be true, if you meet someone, a potential employer, investor, a business partner, perhaps a client, and they're really sort of laying it on with a trowel, that's when you need to be particularly skeptical. But also, it is an opportunity with Venus in your 11th house to build up your connections professionally based on personal charisma. So if there are people that you really like to work for or work with, colleagues, you could find yourself socializing a lot more with them over the next few weeks. Could there be a romantic dimension for that? Why not? Romance can spring from anywhere. What we need to make it work is the electricity, the spark. And there could be a spark because of Venus's opposition with Uranus, but equally that great link with Mars, which for you is in your sector of relating. So I would say the next few weeks could be quite surprising around your love life if you're single, and it could be professionally that someone really starts to make your pulse race. But what about in an existing relationship? I feel if it seems that someone's been taking you a bit too much for granted, you may want to be more assertive with the sun high in the sky. And of course, you know, what we're wanting to achieve all the time is that balance. But one of the things I'd say about Venus in the 11th house is always remember to celebrate the things we have in common, because if you have got a good relationship with someone and you're good friends and there are lots of things you like about each other, although it may not make your proverbial pulse race, it may be something that's worth persevering with and working at. But of course, sometimes we do feel we need to have that raw attraction. That's what makes us feel alive, makes our tummies go over, and that might be something that you could find yourself craving a bit more. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, If you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Aquarius, the sun that's move into your ninth house is about adventure, independence, travel, being much more freedom loving, which are counterintuitive to the devotional energies of a relationship. But no one said you couldn't do that travel with a person you're deeply involved with. But seriously, Venus for you moves to the top of your chart, the 10th house. Because you can be someone who has a strong attachment to your ideals and beliefs, that idealism can sometimes get in the way of you making progress professionally. But you know, it's possible that your personality power is just as important as your knowledge, and do use it over the next few weeks, because Venus is about money, and Venus for you is in your sector of success. And of course the sign of Scorpio is very much about business. So your care with language and the time you take to be diplomatic, even if some people do things differently to you, try to find those points of agreement, because that can be very good for you. But if your relationship is going swimmingly well, Venus moving into the 10th house can be when that people make that next step forwards to bond into, buying a property, moving in together, even tying the knot. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for. So Pisces, for you, Venus moves into house 9. And house 9 has lots of different possibilities to it, but one of them for me is higher truths. And because Venus has been making its way through the 8th house, but in its host sign of Libra, you may have had quite a lot of conversations recently, and some of them may have been quite deep and meaningful. But now you can start to consider the outcome. But because Pluto is just in 11 for you, if you're not really seeing a future in a relationship, that could be what gives you the prime to perhaps think about breaking free. And with Venus going opposite Uranus, there can be a lot of conversation. You may even find you flirting with different people over the next few weeks, which in itself could be quite exciting. But I feel you're looking for a higher meaning with Venus, but the Sun in the 8th house, you need to feel that something really moves you deeply, and you're wanting someone's commitment, their buy-in. And of course, Venus squaring Pluto is very much about those sentiments. If you are Pisces that does enjoy traveling, moving around and experiencing different situations, there could, however, be some really lively social encounters over the next few weeks. Why not enjoy them to the full? It's been a great pleasure being with you and sharing this love and money special forecast for the 26 days from the 23rd of September. To discover what your year 2025 horoscope holds, please click on the link beneath this video. But also, if you'd like to order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, if you order it now, you can get the rest of this year free. Also, my special package, you can get 30% off and your life roadmap report. The combination of this information will give you searing insights. It's great value and it's totally unique to each person that it's produced for.